Hello and welcome to CMS Forex News. I'm market analyst Nick Nassad. Today is Monday, May 4th, 2009. We begin today's broadcast in Australia, where the Melbourne Institute's inflation gauge showed prices flat in April. On the year, prices rose a slower 2.1%, a modest fall compared to March's 2.6% rise and February's 3.1%. Lower inflation will give the Reserve Bank of Australia more leeway to keep rates at their current low levels. A second release from Australia showed house prices down 2.2% in the first quarter, a worse than expected result. On the year, prices were down 6.7%, which shows that the housing market in Australia is suffering from the downturn in the economy. Lower house prices impact consumer spending as confidence weakens. The Aussie-US dollar pair fell following its releases as it ran up against resistance from Thursday at the 0.74 level. However, after testing support, the pair rallied again in New York trading, breaking above resistance to hit a new high above 0.74. The Aussie was boosted by rising stocks in Europe and the US, which carried over the sense of risk appetite from the end of last week. In Germany, retail sales for March were down 1%, which undershot forecasts. The annual rate, though improving to negative 1.5% from February's 6.2% decline, was also weaker than forecast. The Eurozone Centix Investor Confidence Index did not show much improvement in May, which disappointed forecasts. Still, the improvement was not as impressive as expected. The sub-index for current and future situation did improve. A release from Switzerland, the SVME PMI, showed a better than expected improvement, rising to 34.7 in April. Since the level is below 50, the industrial sector index did show its 8th consecutive month of decline. The Euro-Swiss franc pair traded in a tight range, extending sideways trading that has been evident for the last three sessions. The key levels remain the 1.5125 for resistance and 1.5060 as support. In the U.S., pending home sales climbed 3.2% in March, surprising forecast on the upside. The report by the National Association of Realtors states that the increase was led by first-time buyers responding to very favorable affordability conditions and an $8,000 tax credit, which increases buying power. Still, there needs to be several months of sustained growth to demonstrate a recovery in housing. A corollary to the housing market is the construction sector, and construction spending increased 0.3% on the month, which also beat forecasts of a 1.4% decline. That stops a 6-month streak of declining construction spending. After falling in European trading, the better-than-expected U.S. housing data and a surge in U.S. stocks helped push the pair up 200 pips from its low near 1.3215 to set an intraday high near 1.3425. That level broke above resistance from Thursday and shows that the euro strength from last week, after a period of pullback to the 38.2% retracement level, has resumed its upward bias. The US dollar-Canadian dollar pair fell to a 6-month low as the Loonie was boosted by crude oil prices climbing to $54.50 a barrel and the rise in stock prices in the US. The pair broke through key support level at the 1.21 and 1.20 levels last week and is now extending those losses. Surprisingly, for the amount of risk appetite in the other pairs we have displayed, the US dollar-yen pair fell in today's trading. Japan is celebrating a holiday, and so volatility and liquidity was low in the first half of today's trading. The pair was unable to move above the 99.55 level and fell in early afternoon trading in New York despite U.S. stocks climbing, with the Dow Jones Index topping the 8,400 mark. Today's action may reflect a bit of consolidation following last week's strong rally in the pair and more general greenback weakness during today's session. Tonight, look for services and building approvals data from Australia, which is followed by the RBA interest rate decision. Overnight, the Eurozone releases its producer price index and the UK posts its construction PMI. Tomorrow, the US will release its ISM non-manufacturing index, a key measure of services activity, while Fed Chairman Bernanke will testify on the economic outlook before the Joint Economic Committee of Congress. And that concludes today's broadcast. Thank you for joining us here at CMSFX.com, and happy trading.